At the top of the food chain are two predators. One is the strong and wild wolf, the other is the brave and wise lion. An intriguing question arises about their union. If the wolf and the lion marry, what will their child be? The answer to this mystery is about to be revealed. It has fluffy forelegs, soft and delicate, a cute little mouth and teeth like pebbles, and also long, thin ears complete the image. The result is an adorable rabbit. The bunny rabbit looks puzzled by this twist. It doesn't make any sense. The rabbit is shocked. Mommy is a wolf, Daddy is a lion, and he's a rabbit. But no matter how you twist it, whether you somersault forward or backward, he looks just like a normal rabbit. The baby's at a loss for what to do now. Born with a divine prophecy, he's become just a cute bunny. And not just any rabbit, but the one who will one day destroy his parents' bloodline. And it all started a few hours ago with a small incident. On the estate of the Aruz family, the wolf clan, a maid asks the little girl in blue where she's going. The two maids smile. The young mistress is irresistible again today. The girl goes to the door and the maids wonder whether she will wake up as a wolf or a lion. They eagerly await her transformation, anticipating something incredible. After all, she is the only daughter of the noble families of wolf and lion, the child of prophecy. Her bright green eyes sparkle with determination and anticipation. The little girl proudly proclaims, "It's me, Chloe Aruz." Chloe lives in a world inhabited by beastmen. The ancient continent is ruled by a single god, the creator of all things, who is granted a special power. This power was given to 4 powerful families of beastmen who rule the 4 regions. The eagle of the east, Grevis, who sees the future, one of the 4 pillars. The serpent of the west, Demos, who lives forever and keeps ancient secrets. The lion of the south, Leander, who commands mana, exudes power. The wolf of the north, Aruz, with regeneration and combat skills, completes the quartet. These 4 families use their powers to rule the continent peacefully. But over time, their power began to wane, creating strife until a prophecy appeared. A child born from the union of the lion and the wolf would bring peace to the continent. Power-hungry families arranged a political marriage, and a year later, the child of the prophecy was born. That child turned out to be her, Chloe Aruz, with parents on both sides. But there's always a but that heralds an unexpected turn. Shortly after her birth, Chloe's parents divorced. Her mother and uncle avoided talking about the lion family, especially her father. The little girl struggled to reach for the doorknob of her mother's chambers. "Mommy!" Chloe calls out, seeing the princess of the wolf family, Melissa Aruz. Chloe notices that her mother looks utterly exhausted again. Every spring, thoughts of divorce plunge Melissa into melancholy. Deciding not to be disturbed, Chloe quietly closes the door. She hopes her mom will get better soon and thinks about what she can do to help. Suddenly, Chloe gets a brilliant idea. The girl plucks a delicate white flower full of determination. Chloe thinks that mommy loves flowers and will be happy with such a bouquet. She gets the idea to weave a wreath out of these flowers for her mom. Suddenly, Chloe hears some rustling and looks around in surprise. The girl notices that something is moving in the bushes nearby. A small white rabbit suddenly jumps out from behind the flowers. Chloe is delighted. "Wow, it's a rabbit!" Delighted, she asks how he got here and whether he came to look at the flowers too. The rabbit suddenly freezes with a strange expression, and Chloe is puzzled as to what's wrong with him. The baby rabbit snaps abruptly out of his seat, and Chloe pulls her hand out, shouting, "Where are you going?" The girl is confused, wondering why he ran away. Maybe because she's a beastman and looks scary. Chloe listens in surprise. What was that sound? A bird of prey swoops through the sky with a screech. The girl anxiously suggests, could it be hawk? The huge eagle dives right at Chloe, who screams in terror. The little girl panics. "No, why is it flying right at me? We have to run." Chloe rushes away, dropping the flowers she had picked for her mom. Once safe in her room, she thinks she almost died. Her green eye swivels fearfully. "Just a little more and the hawk would have gotten me. Why did he attack?" Hiding under the blanket, Chloe suddenly realizes, "Stop, why did I run away? I'm a brave beast man." But her paws peeking out from under the blanket say otherwise. Chloe wonders why her body has become so light and sees a rabbit silhouette in the mirror. In the reflection is a white rabbit with green eyes, and Chloe is horrified to realize it's her. "What is that? A rabbit?" The little girl can't believe her eyes. Why did she turn into a rabbit? Does this really mean she has awakened a rabbit? No way. Chloe the rabbit falls on her back because her parents are a wolf and a lion. She desperately tries to awaken again, urging herself to turn back into a wolf. The bunny rabbit holds onto her head, oohing and aahing. Oh, I think I hit myself too hard. The shock of the transformation is replaced by a rush of nightmares from long-forgotten memories. A dark scene appears before her mind's eye, an ominous silhouette with a club and a shrunken figure. These frightening memories. Chloe sees a crying face from the past. Chloe the rabbit is horrified to realize, is this really her past life? And then it dawns on her, the sudden memory from her past life means that this world is the same one she read about in the novel, and she's reborn here as a minor character. The title of the novel is Prejudice, Prejudice, and Prejudice Again, and it begins with Lucian Leander of the Lion family. He kills his wife, Melissa Aruse of the Wolf family, and their daughter, and then commits suicide. This act ignites a war between the two families that threatens to destroy the entire continent. But two main characters emerge and use their powers to stop the war and bring peace. That is the plot. While reading this novel, Chloe always wondered why Lucian Leandre killed his wife and daughter, and now, trembling, she finally realizes the reason. Chloe Rabbit tearfully ponders why her father would do such a thing. The reason is probably because the child of two predators was neither a wolf nor a lion, but a sweet white rabbit. Now it's all coming to a head. Dad suspects Mom of cheating on him. Chloe decides that no one must find out about her waking up as a rabbit, or war will break out. Suddenly, a voice calls out, "Chloe, are you there?" The bunny girl freezes in surprise. "Just a second." That voice. Is it really? Chloe listens in surprise. "Mom," dazedly thinks the little girl. Oh, that's right. They were going to her birthday dress fitting today. Chloe panics. She needs to become human immediately, but she doesn't know how. Mommy opens the door, warning, "Chloe, Mommy's about to come in." Upon entering, Mom looks at her daughter in surprise, exclaiming, "Oh no, Chloe, you..." Mom is alarmed by Chloe's disheveled hair, as it was perfect that morning. Chloe, already in her human form with leaves in her hair, assures her that everything is fine, happy that she has had time to transform. Uncle Blake, aroused, the head of the Wolf family, appears in the doorway, calling his niece excitedly. The girl is surprised. "Uncle, when did you get here in time?" Uncle picks Chloe up in his arms, announcing that they are picking out her birthday dress today, and he couldn't miss it. Mommy and Uncle are doting on Chloe, and Chloe thinks about how much they love her. The little girl ponders whether she can continue to hide her waking up as a rabbit, because she hasn't yet figured out how to control the transformations. Chloe tearfully believes that her loving mom and uncle will accept her, even though she is a rabbit. Uncle and Mommy are alarmed by her tears. "Chloe, why are you crying all of a sudden?" Remembering their promises to always be on her side, Chloe decides to tell the truth. She tries to start, but Uncle assumes she's just too energetic or hungry. Mom suggests eating first, but Uncle intones that Chloe was really looking forward to today's lunch. With predatory smiles, they announce, "It's rabbit meat." Chloe interjects in shock. K-rabbit?" The sign reads, "That's right, this is where the animals live." She has a nightmare. Her mom and uncle in the guise of wolves are about to eat her, a bunny rabbit, on a plate. Chloe laughs hysterically, realizing that war is not the main problem. First, she has to hide the fact that she is a rabbit. Chloe is determined to survive in this cruel world of predators. A few hours later, in the luxurious mansion of the Wolf family. In Chloe's room, a dress fitting is in progress, but the girl is unresponsive, which worries her mom and uncle. Mom whispers to Uncle that Chloe still doesn't look too happy. Uncle sighs in agreement, as the memory of the dinner still bothers him. The scene before their eyes, Chloe screams hysterically that she hates rabbit meat and will not eat it. Suddenly, a servant announces Princess Chloe's exit, and Uncle and Mom turn around happily. Details of her new outfit glimmer, a lush pink skirt and dainty shoes. Mom covers her mouth with emotion, and Uncle can hardly hold back tears looking at his niece. Chloe appears before them in a magnificent dress, a real angel in the flesh. Mom admires Chloe's eyes, shining like emeralds. Uncle adds that her hair and apple cheeks make Chloe the cutest thing in the world. Chloe looks away embarrassed, thinking they are exaggerating. The girl blushes. Such a violent reaction embarrasses her very much. Uncle and Mom reach out to hug their little angel. Chloe laughs nervously, realizing that their raptures can last forever. She decides to change the subject, enthusiastically exclaiming how beautiful the dress is. Uncle is glad that Chloe liked it so much, because they had prepared everything in advance, which intrigued the girl. A command is given to the servants, "Come in." The maid brings in a rack full of the cutest dresses from all over the estate for their precious little girl. Mom enthusiastically suggests, "Shall we try them all on?" Chloe is shocked. Wait, all these dresses? But secretly anticipates. The girl, peering out from behind the fitting room, freezes in amazement. Later, in her pajamas, Chloe wipes her eyes. Ugh, I think I dozed off. So many fittings would tire anyone out. Suddenly, there is a furious scream. What right does he have to see our Chloe? Chloe recognizes her uncle's voice. The little girl listens anxiously to the voices coming from behind the door. Uncle Blake angrily continues. After all these years of silence, his outrage grows. He suddenly decides to remember that he's her father. Chloe is shocked. What are they talking about? Daddy wants to meet me? Uncle painfully recalls, I still can't forget the day you came back pregnant, heartbroken, asking for a divorce. Uncle recalls how his sister, pregnant and with eyes swollen with tears, still smiled while he blamed himself for her marriage. Chloe's mom sighs, asking her brother if their rejection of Chloe's father back then would have led to war. She's worried. Their family is almost out of protective magic stones, and a conflict with Leo's family would make things worse. Uncle Blake, flashing his fangs, declares that he doesn't care about the war. It's a chance for revenge and freedom from their trade restrictions. Chloe, eavesdropping, thinks her uncle won't let her meet her father out of fear, but immediately worries, what if the war really does start because of me? Chloe's mom says doubtfully, but what if, just what if, she suggests timidly, what if he just wants to see his daughter as a father? Which shocks Blake. The uncle is furious, yelling that the Lion family throws the weak off cliffs and experiments even on children, reminding them how vile they are. Blake can't believe such monsters can experience fatherly love, and Chloe is shocked. The Lion family is experimenting on children? It dawns on Chloe. Wait a minute. The book Prejudice and Prejudice and Prejudice is in front of her mind's eye, and she realizes that this whole world is steeped in prejudice, just like in the original novel. Chloe recalls, 4 families endowed with special powers ruled different parts of the continent. For centuries they lived apart, each in their own region, like the wolf and rabbit in old portraits. Perhaps because of their long separation, petty misunderstandings born of prejudice have become indisputable facts like a broken hourglass. Chloe reflects, even the first meeting of the main characters of the novel was spoiled by one misunderstanding. The girl wonders, what if all the rumors about Leo's family are also just misunderstandings? She is scared to imagine how she, a rabbit, is thrown off a cliff or used for experiments. Meanwhile, Chloe's mom agrees with Blake. You're right, brother, I was too naive. Mom decides to be strong for Chloe's sake, and the girl hurries back to bed when she hears footsteps. Chloe quickly dives under the covers, pretending to be asleep as the adults approach. Chloe's mom peeks into the room, surprised to see the door ajar. She sees Chloe sleeping peacefully in her crib. Her mom gently strokes her daughter's head, admiring her serene sleep. The woman mentally promises, don't worry, daughter, mommy will protect you. Her only wish is for Chloe to grow up healthy and carefree. Mom looks at her daughter with a gentle smile and determination in her gaze. Quietly closing the door, Mom leaves and Chloe clutches the blanket. A tear rolls down Chloe's cheek as she whispers, Mommy. Chloe recalls the plot of the novel. The Lion family will destroy the Wolf family who started the war. Suddenly, maids rush into the room, enthusiastically greeting the lovely mistress. Chloe remembers how her mother and uncle adore her, their sweet daughter. The girl is horrified to realize, in the plot of the novel, they will all die. She recalls scraps of memories from her past life where she was humiliated and told that she should not exist. But this family is different. They're always on her side, her first real family who care so much about her. Chloe resolutely gets out of bed. She can't sit idly by, she will protect them. The girl sits down at the table to make sense of events and stop the coming war. The first major event is the invasion of the Lion family, during which her mom will be severely injured. Suddenly, Chloe notices something and looks up in surprise. In the reflection of the mirror, she is horrified to see that she has developed long rabbit ears. Chloe panics and tries to hide them, realizing that the main thing is to hide the fact that she has awakened as a rabbit. Chloe desperately tries to force the ears to disappear with her mind, hoping that concentration will help. She even stands on her tiptoes, straining her whole body to hide her rabbit essence. The girl is desperate. Why isn't it working? Not yet knowing that the invasion of the lions is very close. Finally, the day has come. Chloe is walking down the hall in a smart yellow dress, and the maid is waiting for her. The wolf family has been looking forward to this moment, and Chloe, looking out the window, senses its significance. The doors swing open in front of her, and her mom and uncle solemnly invite, "Princess Chloe, please." Uncle and mom enthusiastically shout, "Happy birthday, princess! Happy birthday, Chloe!" Chloe glows with happiness, clapping her hands. "Thank you all. My 7th birthday has begun." The maids adoringly present her with gifts. "Princess, this is my present. Ah, you're so cute today, too." Chloe is surprised and touched. Does everyone like me so much? She is overwhelmed with emotion. The artists, at the behest of Chloe's mother, rush to capture every moment of the angel on canvas. Chloe is embarrassed by such attention, thinking, "I'm grateful that everyone likes me so much, but..." The girl smiles widely, hiding the slight confusion. "This is too much. Thank you all." The feast is amazingly large. Mountains of gifts, treats, and even compared to the royal receptions, it looks too much. Chloe is plagued by doubts. My banquet is so lavish, is this normal? Suddenly, a familiar voice is heard addressing her. "Princess Chloe." The girl turns around, immediately recognizing who called her. It's Brooks, her knight, who greets her with a smile. "Happy birthday, Your Highness!" Chloe is surprised at his strict uniform since it is a holiday, but Brooks is serious. He is her escort and must do his duty. Brooks holds out a gift to Chloe, a hand-sewn doll, very much like the princess herself. Chloe recalls Brooks mentioning that he was making it for his daughter. The girl then asked what it was, and the knight embarrassedly replied, "A gift for my daughter." The design is a bit unusual, but Chloe appreciates the effort put into the gift for her. Chloe hugs the doll in delight, promising to sleep with it, and Brooks is happy to oblige. Suddenly, Uncle calls for the princess, and Chloe turns around in surprise. Mom and Uncle suggest that Chloe close her eyes and make a wish. There is a huge cake in front of her, and they tell her that if you wish for something, you have to tell the dragon. Chloe closes her eyes, cradling the doll, and mentally addresses, "Dear Dragon." She asks him to help prevent war, no matter what it takes. Chloe promises to do her best, standing in front of a cake with candles. Chloe prays to the dragon that her family and everyone in the kingdom will remain unharmed. The girl blows out the candles on the birthday cake, putting all her hope into it. Applause erupts, and Chloe thinks, the main thing is that everyone is together now. Her mom and uncle hug the happy Chloe, and she believes that everything will be all right. Suddenly, a guard bursts into the hall with a shout, "Your Majesty, urgent news!" The frightened guard stammers as he tries to report, and Chloe's mom anxiously asks what's wrong. The guard blurts out, "The Lion Clan is attacking!" and Chloe freezes in horror. He adds that the enemies seem to have used a teleporter and have already infiltrated the palace. Outside comes the order from the lions, "Kill the wolves and find Princess Chloe." The girl doesn't realize what's happening. Chloe's mom, with sword in hand, shouts to Brooks, "Take care of Chloe! The lions are after me!" Brooks picks up Chloe in his arms, resolutely saying, "Princess, let's go." And the girl realizes the plot of the novel has changed. At this time, wolves fiercely fighting with lions, Chloe is terrified. The attack was to happen in 3 years. Chloe recalls a terrible scene from the novel. During the invasion, her mother will be mortally wounded. Brooks carries the princess away, assuring her that her mom, one of the clan's best warriors, will make it through. Chloe clutches the doll, tormented by a bad feeling. "I have to get to my mom right away." Suddenly, there's a cry from her mother, "Get away, you're not taking my daughter." And Chloe freezes. Brooks watches in shock as Chloe suddenly jumps from his arms. The girl lands on the floor, and the knight cries out in surprise, "Princess!" Chloe runs away, and Brooks, sitting on the floor, can't believe his eyes. Did the princess just grow rabbit ears? The knight shrugs off the strange thoughts by shouting in panic at the fleeing Chloe, "Mistress!" Chloe rushes down the corridor, realizing that the invasion began earlier, and her mother is in mortal danger. The girl clutches the doll, realizing injuring her mother will lead to a war that her uncle will unleash. "Pull yourself together, Chloe," the princess urges herself. "We have to find Mom and get out of here." Up ahead, she sees her mother surrounded by 2 Lion Clan warriors with swords at the ready. Her mother turns around in horror. "Chloe? Why are you here?" and the enemies spot the princess. Chloe's mother rushes at the enemies with lightning speed, slaying both of them with a single sword strike. Chloe freezes in shock, looking at the result of her mother's furious attack. Her mother's face contorts with rage. She hisses, "Those bastards!" "Chloe, close your eyes!" screams the mother, and blood splatters around as the girl squirms in terror at the doll. Mom runs up to a trembling Chloe, anxiously asking, "Chloe, are you okay?" Brooks panics as he searches for the princess and Chloe calls his name. Knight is relieved to find Chloe with her mother, happy that she is safe. Mother reprimands Brooks for putting Chloe in danger, and he is ready to be punished. Mother holds the sleeping Chloe, saying that the most important thing now is to hide her. Chloe's mother decisively declares, "I'm coming with you this time." They are at the tall tower, and Mama asks Chloe to stay here, promising to return soon. Chloe tearfully clings to her mother's dress, begging her not to leave. The girl, cradling the doll, doesn't want to let her mother go as everyone else is fighting. The mother smiles confidently, reminding her that she is the strongest of the gray wolves and has easily defeated her enemies. Mother hugs Chloe, telling her that she must protect her and the kingdom, and asks her to trust her. Chloe tearfully whispers, "Okay, I'll wait." Her mother looks lovingly at her daughter through the closing door, and Chloe blames herself. The girl thinks in despair that she couldn't change anything, being only a helpless child. Suddenly, Chloe hears the door creak open and turns around in fear. "Who's here?" The ominous silence is broken by a question from the darkness. "Is it in here?" Chloe is overcome with terror when someone's voice orders, "Lee An-young, come out now." Her mind flashes back to another child hiding from the screaming, "You thought they wouldn't find you here?" The frightened boy clamps his ears shut as they search for him with threats. Chloe, trembling, covers her ears, whispering, "No, please save me." A dark figure appears in the doorway, calling, "It's finally open, come here, Lee An-young." Chloe, huddled on the floor, pleads with the stranger, "I'm sorry, just don't hurt me." The girl trembles, promising, "I'll do anything you say, please forgive me." A man in dark clothes with gold trim stands silently over her. Chloe looks up in surprise, not understanding why there are no screams. The stranger looks at her, and a tear rolls down his cheek. The girl is perplexed. Who is this man? Why is he crying looking at me? The man slowly drops to one knee in front of the frightened Chloe. He says softly, "You must be Chloe. I recognized you right away, even though we haven't met." Chloe notices his green eyes, the same as hers, and a hunch dawns on her. The man says fondly, "It's nice to meet you, my daughter." Chloe recalls asking her mom about her father as a child, and she replies that he was straightforward and strict. Her mom tearfully added that to her he was an infinitely kind and warm man. Little Chloe with huge green eyes looked perplexedly at her mother. The girl did not understand everything then, interrogating about something of her own. Mom confessed with pain and blush that sometimes it seemed to her as if she hated him. From that day, after seeing her mother's tears, Chloe never spoke of her father again. Chloe is in the present with tears in her eyes, wondering why this memory surfaced in her dream. Lying in bed, she thinks about her brother's words not to trust the wolf clan, but then she hears a sound. The girl looks at the unfamiliar, luxurious ceiling with surprise. Chloe sees two men in the room, realizing that she is not in the tower where she was supposed to be waiting. One of the men, her father, reflects that if he tried harder, Melissa would change her mind. He recalls crying as he looked at Chloe and then immediately passing out. In the flashback, an exhausted Chloe falls right into his outstretched arms. Her father cradles his unconscious daughter tightly, his face expressing pain. Duke Lucian, with Chloe in his arms, rushes away on his horse as the battle rages on. Chloe regains consciousness, pulls her arm in horror, and screams, "No!" as she sees her brother moving away. Waking up in an unfamiliar bed, Chloe realizes she has been kidnapped by the Lion Clan after all. The girl cradles the doll, and someone's voice says, "The fact of child abuse is undeniable." A hand holds a vial of poison against the spoiled food, while the voice lists the horrors. She was starved and poisoned by wild beasts. Chloe is horrified at the thought that somewhere, children really are being abused like this. Chloe hears in amazement as if she was locked in a closet until she was rescued. The voiceover adds that she was hugging a lousy doll, and Chloe is perplexed, cradling the toy. The girl realizes that all these horrors are attributed to her, and she is hurt at the thought of violence. Chloe's father sits with his head down, and the other man asks if he still doubts their testimony. Chloe mentally asks who they are, and three dark figures with red eyes appear before her. The stranger states that, according to them, Melissa despised and judged her own daughter, causing Chloe's anger. Chloe, unable to stand it, screams from the bed that her mom isn't that kind of person at all. Her father raises his head in surprise at the yell, and Chloe sits up in bed, outraged. The man continues to look toward the bed where the girl just shouted her protest. Chloe panics, wondering what she has done, snapping out of her anger, screaming. Chloe decides in a panic to pretend like she's talking in her sleep when she hears someone approaching. The girl hides under the blanket, pretending to snore and mumble something inaudible. The men talk to each other, realizing that Chloe is pretending to be asleep, and she realizes that she has been figured out. Chloe sits up abruptly in bed, stretching and loudly proclaiming that she's had a great night's sleep. Her father anxiously asks if his daughter is awake and how she feels. The girl looks thoughtfully. She thinks she has heard that voice before. A memory comes to mind. Her father on his knee says, "Nice to meet you, my daughter." And Chloe remembers her mother's wedding portrait. In front of her stands her father, Lucian Leander, with his arms crossed on his chest and a serious look. Chloe finally realizes that this man is her father, Lucian Leander. The girl looks at her father confused, not knowing how she should behave now. Chloe remembers. Her father is the one who brutally killed her uncle, the head of the Lion clan. Another man, Ian Leander, the patriarch of the Lion family, says thoughtfully, "I don't know." The girl clutches the blanket, realizing that here the slightest misunderstanding leads to war. Chloe decides to intervene to prevent conflict and timidly calls out, "Pete, excuse me." She continues that she overheard the conversation by accident and thinks there was a misunderstanding. Chloe boldly declares that her mom and uncle love her, and she loves them very much too. Her father listens to her from the back while the girl states that there was no abuse. Lucian turns and walks over to the bed, reaching out to the agitated Chloe. He gently touches her clenched fist, offering to eat first and talk later. Father and Ian leave, advising Chloe to rest properly for now. Chloe is left alone in the luxurious room, immersed in her thoughts. The girl looks at her hand with confusion, remembering her father's gentle touch. Soon, food is brought to her. A plate of steaming soup is placed on a tray in front of her. Two maids, Isabel and Cassie, sternly inquire why she has eaten so little. Chloe nervously excuses herself that she usually eats little, even though she has been told that children should eat well. The maids stare silently and intently at the girl, making her feel uncomfortable. Chloe thinks that these lionesses scare her, and from their gaze, a piece does not go down her throat. Noticing her condition, the maids remove the food, offering Chloe a rest. As they leave, one of the maids announces that there is a summoning cord next to the bed. Isabel turns around and insists that Chloe can call them at any time. Chloe sits up in bed, pondering that everyone here seems strange, and there is a guard at the door. The girl decides that she urgently needs to find a way to contact her mom and uncle. She remembers that she lost her uncle's magic bracelet during the kidnapping, and now she needs a new one. Luckily, the Leander family's abilities have to do with mana and magical stones. Chloe wistfully recalls a rumor that there are so many of these stones in the lands of the lions that one could trip over them. If that's true, she thinks, then I must find at least one nearby. Decisively jumping off the bed, Chloe announces that she will start her search from her room. She begins rummaging through drawers, hoping to find the magic escape stone. With a doll in her hands, the girl looks around the room, believing that the stone is somewhere here. Alas, after a long search in the upside-down room, Chloe, breathing heavily, realizes the stone is nowhere to be found. Chloe lies on the floor without strength, complaining that instead of stones, there are only childish things. Suddenly, under the bed, she notices some dressed-up box. The girl's eyes light up with hope. Is it a magic stone? Good, let's open it, more decisively thinks Chloe. In front of her is a simple wooden box with metal corners. Chloe stares at the find with bated breath, anticipating what's inside. Suddenly, Chibi Chloe explains that due to her parents' divorce, she has different names in her families. She adds that she's stopping by for a brief explanation to readers and says goodbye. Upon opening the drawer, Chloe sees only baby supplies, clothes, and shoes. The girl realizes in despair that the entire room is filled exclusively with baby things. Chloe recalls the plot of the original novel. The last child of Leo's family is her. A flashback pops up. Her father meets her. Chloe is touched. "Daddy, is this room really prepared for me?" Chloe scolds herself. Don't jump to conclusions. The main thing now is to find the magic stone. Chloe dreams of her mom and uncle. They're probably waiting for me. Chloe searches for the stone all night, but without success. Outside in the shadows stand two people, a man and a maid, their faces indistinguishable. Chloe is puzzled. Why does everyone get the Wolf family so wrong, like Papa and Uncle? The girl decides, I can't leave it like this anymore. She timidly calls out to someone, Pete, excuse me. Chloe confidently declares, that story is wrong. I can explain everything. The man and the maid from the shadows abruptly turn around and rush towards her. Chloe's eyes reflect their rapid approach. She frightenedly thinks, what is it? Suddenly, someone picks the girl up, wrapping their arms around her tightly. Maid Isabel holds Chloe in her arms. Lady Chloe, are you all right? Another maid excitedly exclaims that Chloe almost fell and Isabel saved her. Chloe looks down, realizing that she almost tripped over a simple rock. She realizes they rush towards her out of concern, not to attack. The servants immediately decide to reinforce her shoes and remove all the stones, genuinely concerned for her. It dawns on the girl, just as the lions misjudged the wolves, so the wolves were wrong about the lions. In that case, maybe I should be brave, Chloe thinks. She timidly asks to be shown one place and the guard immediately agrees. Chloe points to a tall tower in the distance, wanting to visit it. A glow emanates from the tower and the girl senses that something important is there. From the top of the tower, the view of all the lands of the lions opens up, striking her imagination. She is happy that she dared to ask, for it is in this tower that the magic stones are created. In the flashback, Isabel explains that the tower is the place where the magical stones are created, protected by a barrier. Isabel adds that the castle is guarded not only by high walls, but also by guards with powerful magical weapons. Chloe is horrified to realize, even a strong army will not be able to easily break through such protection. The girl realizes, even after contacting her family, they will not be able to get inside, and she will not be able to escape. Chloe desperately searches with her eyes for a gap in the defense, a weak spot, through which it would be possible to get through. Back in the present, Isabel gently takes Chloe's hands, noticing her anxiety. The maid gently reassures the girl, promising that there will be no more dangerous incidents. Suddenly, knights appear, swearing to protect Lady Chloe at the cost of their lives from vicious wolves. Chloe wonders if she looked like she was afraid of the wolf family, and realizes that this will make it difficult to meet her family. Chloe's hand grips the tower railing tightly as she ponders the situation. Chloe loudly proclaims that nothing bad happened to her in the wolf family. She was loved there. The servants relent, figuring she's just pretending not to bother them. Chibi Chloe is desperate. These people don't listen to her at all. Chibi Chloe stomps her foot, begging them to listen to her truth. Suddenly, her shoe slips off the edge. Chloe loses her balance and begins to fall off the tower. Isabel looks down in horror as she sees Chloe flying. The maid and the knight rush to the railing in panic. Isabel screams, "Lady Chloe!" There is fear in the eyes of the falling Chloe. No way. Chloe flies downward, thinking desperately, I still don't want to mind. Chloe opens her eyes in someone's arms, perplexed. Yeah, still alive? A familiar voice makes her flinch. She recognizes it? Her father holds her, menacingly asking why his daughter was falling from the tower. The Duke sternly reprimands the servants, reminding them of the paramount importance of Chloe's safety. Isabel admits guiltily. They relied too much on the magical protection of the walls. The girl peeks out from behind her father's shoulder, surprised at the mention of protective magic. Chibi Chloe sees the hovering debris of the railing. Magic really does exist. Suddenly, she remembers the Duke and decides to stand up for the servants, but her father is adamant. Chloe tries to explain that she herself begged to be taken to the tower and was warned. Her father sternly orders her to keep silent because the servants had a duty, and Chloe is frightened by his strictness. Chloe snuggles up to her father, thinking, if I keep silent, these good people will be punished because of me. The girl ponders how she can make her father forgive the servants, remembering her tricks in the wolf family. She resolutely grabs her father's camisole. Please don't punish these people. Her father tries to object, but Chloe, clutching the brooch, suddenly exclaims, Ah! With an incredibly cute and desperate look, she screams, Daddy-ah! The servants and the Duke freeze in shock. Did Lady Chloe really just say daddy? Chloe, blushing, embarrassedly thinks, did I overdo it a little? Chibi Chloe giggles nervously in the background of the tower as the crows caw ominously. Close up, Chloe is still blushing, her pretty face expressing embarrassment and hope. The Duke looks at his daughter. his stern expression softening slightly under her pressure. Chloe realizes that her daddy has shocked everyone, including the servants. The Duke gently takes her hand, saying, "Chloe." He tells her she doesn't need to call him daddy if she finds it difficult. Dad gently lowers Chloe to the floor. He drops to one knee, looking into her eyes. "When you really want to call me that..." Duke finishes with a warm smile. "Then you'll call me daddy." Chloe is touched. He noticed her confusion and showed sensitivity, and she begins to understand her mom. In the flashback, Chloe's mom sadly admits that there were times when she even hated the Duke. Chloe realizes, was her mother's love for her father so strong that his kindness hurt her? Duke gently touches Chloe's chin and she looks at him in surprise. "Huh?" Duke gently touches her chin and Chloe is perplexed. "But what does that mean?" The girl recoils, trying to concentrate. They need to dispel misunderstandings about Leo's family. Chloe decisively declares that she wants to clarify something, because the Duke and the others are wrong. In front of her father and the servants, she says firmly that she was never wronged by the Wolf family. Chloe presses her hand to her chest, begging them to believe her sincere words. She had come to tell the truth about the Wolf family, and the result didn't seem so bad, did it? The camera shows a majestic clock tower flooded with sunlight. Her father didn't say anything, but they all went to look around the magical tower together. Chloe walks through the tower, troubled. "Why did Daddy..." Duke strokes her head gently, agreeing. "Yes, you're right." Duke ponders. "Melissa? She couldn't have hurt you, could she?" Chloe thinks, is that why he had that lonely expression? Chibi Chloe cheers herself up. "No, Chloe, you have to think positive." She ponders. "We made it to the magic tower, that's a big step." Chloe walks with her dad through the tower. "This is where we'll find the protection stone for Mom." A bright room with display cases beckons with its glow. Chloe is amazed. "But this is incredible." She marvels. "I've never seen so many magical stones." Duke calls out to her. "Chloe, come here." Duke explains, "I had to pick the stones quickly, there aren't many here." Chloe is embarrassed to thank him, not believing it's all for her, but resentment overshadows the joy of her first gift from her father. She clenches her fists, thinking, if Wolf's family had so many stones, life would be easier. In this world, magic stones created by the infusion of magic are of great importance. They are used to start fires, communicate at a distance, they improve the quality of life. Therefore, magic stones are vital to the governance of the territory. In the flashback, a servant reports to the head of the Wolf family. Because of the interference of the lions, they have only 3 stones. The dark background emphasizes, it's all because of the lion family's interference. The broken crystal symbolizes her thoughts. Is her father trying to say that he is not to blame for the lack of stones? The Duke drops to his knee in front of Chloe, holding out an ornate box to her. He opens it, and inside shines a ring created from a protective magical stone. Her father places the ring on Chloe's finger, telling her to always wear it for protection. Chloe admires the shining stone, which is much purer than the ones she has known. She recalls the Wolf family's humble necklace. It was nowhere near this ring. The Duke wonders with a soft smile if she needs anything else. Noticing the shelves with crystals, Chloe realizes that her father is ready to give her anything she wants. The girl resolutely clenches her fists. Now, with protective magic, it's time to act. Embarrassed but firmly, she declares her desire to hunt birds, asking for a medium for communication. Later, the servant, apologizing for the disturbance, addresses the Duke seated at the table. The Duke, after listening to the report, calmly clarifies whether Chloe was successful in catching the birds. Chibi Chloe with a net furiously pursues the pigeon, and the servant admiringly describes her ferocity. The Duke utters with a slight smile, "I am calm." However, the servant reports, protective magic has been triggered in Chloe's room. The target of the activation was a bird, and the coordinates pointed to the territory of the Wolf family. Her father expected this, giving her the stone and tells her to leave everything as it is. The Duke anticipates the imminent attack by the Wolf family and orders the guards to be doubled. He walks away resolutely, leaving the servant to carry out the order. Meanwhile, Chloe sleeps serenely in her crib, unsuspecting. The Duke looks fondly at his sleeping daughter, noting that her sleeping habits are like her mother's. He presses his hand to his chest thoughtfully, sinking into his memories. A radiant image of a woman lovingly calling to him, "Oh, Lucian," pops into his mind. In his memory, his wife promised to love their child in a way that would make the world jealous. The Duke bitterly whispers his late wife's name, Melissa. He clutches the cheap bracelet, reflecting on Melissa's feigned concern for Chloe. The Duke looks at the jewelry with disdain. Is this really your idea of love? For 7 years, he has sent the finest stones to the Wolf family, wanting the best for his daughter. His thoughts torment him. How much Chloe has been neglected by not giving her a single stone? He recalls Chloe's words denying the mistreatment in the Wolf family. Duke realizes, even after everything, Chloe was trying to protect the wolves, and he was only comforting her. Looking at his sleeping daughter, he decides he will never forgive the Wolf family. The Duke is determined. Those who dared to hurt his daughter will pay for what they have done. Night falls on the Wolf family's mansion, Aru's Manor. In their bedroom, someone is restlessly tossing and turning and wakes up. A shining dove wakes a woman with silver hair. She is surprised. On the bird's foot, she notices a ring with a stone and a tiny scroll. A protective magic stone and a note flashes through her mind. The woman carefully unwraps the message brought by the pigeon. Tears of emotion come to her eyes. It's from Chloe, isn't it? She presses the note to her heart. You're safe. Daughter, I'm coming for you. Her face contorts with rage. And how dare you, Lucian Lancaster, harm my daughter? You will pay. Meanwhile, in the Wolf family meeting room, the next issue is being discussed. The heir to the Lion family. The Duke announces his intention to appoint a new heir to the Lion family, since he doesn't have an official marriage yet. Chloe is shocked, wondering who will be the heir. The novel did not mention this. Father solemnly proclaims, the heir to the Lion family will be Chloe Leander. All present in the hall are frozen in shock at the unexpected statement of the Duke. Chloe can't believe her ears. She has been in the Lion family for only a week, and she is already an heiress? The girl guesses that's why her father insisted on her presence at the family council. One of the council members and Chloe herself try to object because she is from the hostile Wolf family. The dark background hints at the Duke's ulterior motives and his displeasure at the objections. The Duke glares menacingly at those present, asking if anyone dares to contradict him. The attendees immediately change their minds, vocalizing their complete agreement with the Duke's decision. Chloe in her chibi form is indignant. Already surrendered, cowards. However, one of the counselors, a Marquis, raises his hand, addressing the Duke. Marquis Connor Myers offers to listen to one more opinion before making a final decision. He mentions Lady Joanna, Princess of House Demos, and the Duke's fiancé in front of a snake. The Duke is annoyed to think of her. Their engagement implied her children as heirs. The insidious serpents of the House of Demos spelled out onerous terms in the contract. Chloe is horrified. Joanna is the older sister of the main character from the novel, from the Snake family. The girl recalls, this engagement was imposed on Leo's family, they did not consent. An inscription appears against the background of the moon. Absolute beings among all beastmen, dragons. A huge dragon looms over the text. When my parents disobeyed the divine oracle given by the dragon and chose divorce. Chloe recalls, the Duke's parents could not escape the interference of other noble families. Chloe's uncle Ian became embroiled in the family's affairs because of the intrigues of the House of the Serpent. Because of this, Ian, the head of the Lion family, was forced to take the place of his older brother Lucian. Chloe reflects, her uncle got into a loveless marriage because of her parents, but she can help him. The girl recalls details from the novel, looking for a way to change her uncle's fate. Suddenly, her father turns to Chloe. I need you to do something. Chloe is shocked. Does her father really need her help? The Duke asks her to leave for now, and Chloe resolutely clenches her fists, ready to help. Her father gently escorts her out of the hall, suggesting she go play outside. Chloe, in her chibi uniform, is outraged. Her father just made her look like a child, telling Mason to take her to the greenhouse. Chloe is outraged. She can't just be kicked out, she has to prove her worth. The Duke orders Mason to make cocoa and marshmallows for Chloe, and she gets the idea. The girl happily agrees to go to the greenhouse, deciding to enjoy the sweets first and think later. Mason politely suggests the princess to follow him, and Chloe readily agrees. Leaving, Chloe notices the Marquise remaining in the hall, and Mason waves goodbye to her. She remembers it's Earl Connor Myers, the one who was supposed to negotiate with the Demos family. Chloe, in her chibi uniform, mentally thanks the Count. Thank you, loyal vassal, you saved me. A magnificent glass greenhouse appears before them, built, as the inscription says, by the Duke himself. Mason explains that this greenhouse was a forbidden place, closed by the Duke 7 years ago. Chloe asks in surprise if she can go in, and Mason confidently replies, "Yes, of course." Mason shares, "The Duke's order to bring Chloe into the greenhouse surprised everyone. He assumes that the Duke kept the place especially for the princess." Chloe, surrounded by flowers, is delighted with the garden. She really likes it. She notices many lisianthus, her mother's favorite flowers. The girl sadly realizes how much she misses her mother and uncle. A warm memory of her mother and uncle being proud of her comes to mind. Chloe, in her chibi form, tries to hold back the tears that are coming, urging herself to calm down. She resolutely clenches her fists. "You can't cry here and now." The girl believes that her mom and uncle will come for her soon. She just has to wait. A few days later, to discuss the issue of inheritance, the Snake family arrives in person. The maids are preparing Chloe's luxurious yellow dress and jewelry box for the important meeting. A maid knocks, asking permission to enter, and immediately announces the Duke's arrival. Chloe is in profile. The text reads, "The meeting was attended by me." The doors swing open and her uncle, the head of the family, and her father, the Duke, enter the room. Chloe, dressed in a charming yellow and white dress with bows, welcomes the guests. The girl embarrassedly greets them with her hand pressed to her chest, her cheeks slightly pink. Her uncle and father look at Chloe with amusement, noting how she fits in here like a beautiful fairy. Uncle marvels at how such a sweet angel could have appeared in the Lion clan and compares her to a fluffy rabbit. Chloe, in her chibi uniform, panics. "A rabbit? Maybe I should have dressed more majestically just so they don't find out I'm a bunny beast man, and with those hair tails and ears." Her father sternly interrupts her uncle, stating, "My daughter Chloe, the future heiress of the Lion clan, is obviously a brave lion." Uncle tries to smooth things over, noting that there are some cute lions. Chloe exhales with relief. At least it went off without a hitch. Her father, shining, turns to Chloe, offering her to go together. The girl joyfully pulls her hand to her father, exclaiming, "Yes!" Suddenly, Chloe freezes, her big green eyes staring in surprise. Why so quiet? She realizes in a panic that she has grabbed her father's hand out of habit, like she always did with her mother and uncle. Chloe tries to yank her hand away, thinking she needs to let it go immediately. However, her father suddenly squeezes her small hand tightly with his. Chloe looks at their interlocked hands in surprise, not realizing what is happening. Her father, slightly embarrassed, asks, "Chloe, why don't we walk holding hands?" Chloe agrees to walk holding hands with her father, embarrassedly replying, "Yes." The unusual situation causes her to ask, "What is this?" Ian notices Chloe's confusion, but her father assures her that everything is fine. Chloe feels the warmth of her father and uncle's large hands. She is overwhelmed by the feeling of real family. They approach the majestic palace. Father asks Chloe if she has met the Demos family. Chloe replies that she hasn't met them yet. Uncle decides to warn Chloe about the Snake family. Chloe guesses that it's about the rumors from the novel. Uncle tells her that the rumored Demos clan of Typhon are evil and devious individuals. They are said to suck the life force out of others and even use their own children as pawns. Chloe's father addresses her uncle sternly. "Ian." The Duke asks not to frighten Chloe with ridiculous stories, and her uncle apologizes. Chloe realizes they believe the rumors about the Snake family, but the truth is more complicated. She recalls the words of the original novel's main character, Sion. Zion tells her that his parents only cared about him. They were willing to give up everything for him. He loved his relatives who had left this world and missed them a lot. Chloe ponders, perhaps it was because of this love that Zion destroyed Wolf's family. Chloe speculates that Zion was taking revenge because his loved ones were taken from him. She decides the rumors of the Snake family using children are just a misunderstanding, just like the clan feud. The girl, holding her father and uncle's hands, prepares to finally meet the Snake family. Suddenly, Chloe feels the atmosphere in the hall becoming tense and pressurized. A voice announces the arrival of Lord Ian and Duke Lucian. They are already waiting. Dylan Demos, the head of the Snake family, appears before them, greeting them after a long separation. Dylan notices Chloe, curiously noting the young lady's presence. Chloe recognizes him as the father of the novel's protagonist and feels uncomfortable with his heavy aura. Chloe's father politely greets Lord Demos, expressing concern for his tedious journey. The Duke, with an icy smile, inquires about his bride's health, hinting at the possible disruption of the wedding. Dylan informs with a smile that his daughter is ill, but he will arrange for them to meet soon. Chloe's chibi uniform frowns. As expected, the families are clearly not on the best of terms. Instead of a daughter, Dylan introduces his son, who is Chloe's age, and asks to be nice to him. Chloe recalls the description: hair the color of the night sky, eyes clear azure. In front of her is a boy with piercing blue eyes, the protagonist of the novel. The graceful facial features are all Sion Demos, her favorite character, appearing so soon. The boy takes a step forward and speaks briefly. Hello. With a slight smile, he introduces himself. I am Zion Demos, heir to the Demos family. Chloe is surprised and confused. What is this? He's not at all what I imagined him to be. His eyes should be clear, but why do they seem so empty? So cold. Chloe's father notices her condition and worriedly asks if she's okay. The Duke thinks Chloe is very nervous, perhaps because of the tense atmosphere. The father suggests that Lord Demos let the children play in the garden while the adults talk. Dylan refuses at first, but his wife, Lady Demos, suddenly appears. Lady Demos imperiously orders Zion to go play with the young lady, and he obeys. Chloe notices how the expression on Lord Demos's face has changed and hesitates. Her father encourages Chloe with a smile, suggesting that she go play too. Chloe decides to go and runs off following Sion towards the garden. A magnificent sun-drenched palace garden spreads out in front of them. However, Chloe can't help thinking about Sion's strange blank stare. Chloe wonders if something has happened that she doesn't know about. She decides that she must get close to Sion and find out. Sion is sitting on a bench in the garden, immersed in reading a book. Chloe runs up to him, introduces herself, but the boy does not react. She tries to make conversation by offering strawberry cake, but Sion keeps silent. Chloe is puzzled. Why doesn't he answer? Is he shy? A thought occurs to her. Maybe she should try the approach from the original novel. Chloe begins to tell about a greenhouse flooded with sunlight. Zion blushes slightly, and Chloe is pleased to notice his reaction. Suddenly, the scene changes. A dark snake in a gloomy, damp place. Chloe remembers, in the novel, Zion, like the snake, liked sunbathing. Her hunch is correct. Zion reacts, but immediately turns coldly to her. Hey, you. The boy disdainfully asks if she has any pride since she's imposing after being ignored. Chloe babbles that she just wants to be friends, and Sion chuckles crookedly. How funny. He wryly wonders if she's trying to ingratiate herself to Duke Leander through him. Sion adds that he saw her earlier trying to please Duke Lucian. Leaning in, he calls her lust for attention frankly pathetic. Chloe is stunned by his words. What? I'm pathetic? Anger overwhelms the girl and she screams, You! What did you just say? Chloe is furious, demanding that he not talk about something he totally doesn't understand. Zion, stunned, sits on the ground after Chloe's shove. Chloe hides in her room under a blanket, clearly worried. Stupid Chloe, I pushed Sion out of annoyance, the girl berates herself. She desperately hopes she hasn't ruined everything completely with her pettiness. But immediately Chloe decides, no, it's Sion's fault, he ignored me. Suddenly, there is a knock on the door of her room. Uncle Lucian enters, wondering what she's been doing alone for so long. Chloe flinches, assuring him that everything is fine, but she is plagued by suspicions. Did Sion really press the adults about me pushing him and running away? She panics. Uncle asks if Zion has left, and if Chloe is upset about her new friend's departure. Uncle Lucian informs her that the meeting has dragged on, but Chloe will see Zion again soon. With a bright smile, Lucian suggests that Chloe go on a date with her uncle. With her eyes closed, Chloe asks where they are going as Lucian leads her. Her uncle says they're almost there and asks her to hang on a little longer. When Chloe opens her eyes, she gasps. A breathtaking view spreads out before her. The girl is amazed. The world shines like a jewel. Lucian smiles contentedly. Lucian gently strokes Chloe's head, saying that this is the Leander family's secret place. He confesses that he wanted to show it to her as soon as possible, welcoming her into the family. Chloe is deeply touched by his words, her eyes wide with wonder. Suddenly, a dark vision flashes. Lucian with a sword over a defeated enemy, a reminder of the plot of the novel. Chloe remembers being afraid of her uncle and trying to stay away. The girl realizes with a slight blush that now she feels sorry for some reason. Suddenly, an assistant appears, shouting that the Duke is missing and the work stands. Chloe asks her uncle in surprise if he's been truant, and he flinches. Lucian, coughing, declares that the head of the family also needs rest, and this is his break. The girl is amazed. Her uncle sulks like a child demanding a rest. So unexpected. The Duke, slightly embarrassed, suggests postponing work matters for another time. He gently explains that today he only wanted to welcome Chloe to the Leander family. Chloe thinks about it. Perhaps she herself is a prisoner of stereotypes from the novel. Back in the room, Chloe shouts, "Come out!" and furiously swings a toy sword. Chloe, with the toy sword, furiously attacks an empty chair in her room. The girl collapses on her bed, lamenting that she has been trying to do something for hours now to no avail. She reflects that she has tried everything in her spare time to unlock her ability. Chloe recalls, in the novel, the ability awakened immediately, and she had hoped for the same. She practices palm strike and flame suppression on a plush toy to no avail. A frustrated Chloe with cute hair ears realizes all her attempts have failed. She worries, having awakened as a rabbit, why hasn't her ability manifested yet? Chloe anxiously looks at her palms, wondering what her gift is. Suddenly, there is a knock, and someone politely asks if they can enter Chloe's room. In a panic, the girl tosses her toys aside, hastily shouting for the person who has entered to wait a bit. Chloe asks fearfully, what happened? Leander informs her that Isabel told him everything. Chloe recalls the secret walk with Uncle Ian. Leander is jealous. Ian showed Chloe the place first. Leander promises to show Chloe the place even better. He offers Chloe a cup of cocoa. Chloe is delighted. Leander knows her favorite drink. Leander carefully asks her to drink the cocoa slowly. Suddenly, the lights in the room go out. Servants rush in, worried about Chloe. Leander calms the servants while they report a possible intruder due to the failure of the magic stone. With a serious face, Leander orders an immediate search of the castle. The guards immediately take the order to execution. Leander tells Chloe that he needs to look around for a while. The girl is surprised. He promises to return quickly and asks Chloe to wait for him here. The door closes behind Leander, leaving Chloe in the room. Chloe thinks that everyone has gone to look around the castle. The girl senses someone's presence at the window. Suddenly, the window shatters and a hooded figure bursts into the room, aiming at Leander. Leander turns around sharply at the sound of shattering glass and the unexpected attack. Leander barely dodges the swift sword strike of the hooded figure. A drop of blood escapes his lips, he thinks glumly. Those wolves sent a rather skillful one. Leander decides not to kill outside Chloe's room and lure the enemy outside first. Blades cross, Leander and the attacker exchange quick attacks. Suddenly, Leander freezes as he hears a familiar voice from beneath his hood. The attacker grabs him by the collar, furiously promising, "Lucian Leander, I will cut off your head." Removing the hood, the girl with silver hair and sword adds, "A day like this, I mean." Leander looks at her in amazement, recognizing her. Melissa?" The door of Chloe's room is ajar, and a concerned question comes from there. "Duke, is something wrong?" Chloe peeks out, saying she heard a loud noise, catching Melissa off guard. Melissa drops her sword, caught off guard by Chloe's appearance. She immediately rushes over to the girl, hugging her tightly and asking if she's hurt. Chloe, with tears in her eyes, whispers incredulously, "Mommy?" Melissa assures her that this is not a dream, and she has come to take Chloe home to her wolf family. Suddenly, Leander stops her, his voice sounding cold. With sword in hand, he menacingly asks who let her take Chloe. Leander states firmly, "Chloe is my daughter, you can't take her away." Melissa, cradling Chloe, angrily yells that Leander has no rights to her. The Duke calmly replies that he has a duty to protect Chloe so she can grow up safe. Melissa interrupts in a rage, accusing Leander of being the one who abandoned them first. Chloe bursts into tears, confused by the adults' quarrel. Leander and Melissa are concerned, trying to understand the reason for her tears. The Duke gently cradles Chloe, apologizing for frightening her. The girl sobs that they were fighting, but Leander calms her down, saying it was a misunderstanding. Melissa watches in amazement as Chloe trustingly snuggles up to Leander. She realizes that she was too focused on the idea of saving Chloe. Melissa realizes that she had completely overlooked her own daughter's feelings. Clenching her fist, she berates herself for putting up a fight in front of her child. Melissa sincerely apologizes to Chloe, admitting that she should have thought about her fear. Leander promises to grant Chloe's every wish, and Melissa immediately asks her daughter for 10 kisses. Chloe happily promises her mom at least 100, even 1,000 kisses. Leander is puzzled. The informant said that Chloe is afraid of Melissa. The girl with shining eyes asks if they will fight anymore. Leander and Melissa look at each other in confusion, not knowing what to say. Chloe cries again, thinking they will fight over her again. The adults assure each other that they will never fight again. Chloe, sobbing, asks if this is true, remembering her mother's words about makeup. The girl resolutely demands that they hold hands tightly. Leander and Melissa are shocked by Chloe's unexpected order. Chloe notices their displeasure and asks if they've been cheating on her. Melissa decisively grabs Leander's hand, declaring, "Okay, I got it." She looks at Chloe with a smile, assuring her that they definitely won't be fighting now. Leander, embarrassed, looks away, still holding Melissa's hand. Chloe joyfully throws herself around their necks, exclaiming, "Thank goodness, you two have finally made up." The girl can't believe her happiness because in the original, the parents hated each other. Chloe suddenly realizes what her real ability is. Her ability is to evoke certain feelings in those around her. It turns out her gift is winning sympathy, although she got it all wrong. Chloe realizes that this is not the superpower she dreamed of, and her parents will not make up at the snap of her fingers. But the girl is determined to make things right between them by putting their hands together again. Chloe is determined to not only reconcile her parents, but to stop the war from the original story. Meanwhile, in Leander's office, the Duke decides to show mercy first. Leander, with a lion roaring behind him, ponders the consequences if Chloe stays in his house. The Duke declares that he will not prosecute the wolves for their recent invasion and attempt to start a war. The wolves' representative is shocked, not believing his ears, for the suggestion seems absurd. Melissa crosses her arms and says firmly that Chloe is her daughter, and no one will take her away from her mother. She reminds her that Chloe has lived on their property all her life, and she doubts that Leander cares about her joy. Leander grinningly interjects whether Melissa actually mentioned the child's happiness. The Duke points to the cheap magical stone given to Chloe, asking if that's what caring about happiness looks like. Melissa, embarrassed, admits that she and her brother may not have been perfect, but they tried their best. Leander asks with a chuckle, "Really?" He wryly suggests that the wolves raise Chloe themselves. Melissa's testy brother suggests settling the dispute with a duel. Chloe's quiet voice is heard outside the door. Leander and his brother are surprised by the girl's appearance. Chloe peeks into the room, cheerfully saying hello. Leander is amazed to see Chloe. Chloe addresses her uncle fondly. The girl throws herself into the arms of her brother Leander. Uncle spins Chloe around, happy to see her. Chloe soothes her crying uncle, saying she came just in case. Melissa tensely watches, and Leander's brother senses that war is about to break out. The girl decides to use her ability to defuse the situation. Chloe timidly asks if she will be a nuisance since she wants to stay. The uncle immediately assures that they were just talking and offers Chloe to sit down. The little girl mentally thanks her uncle for his kindness. Chloe runs happily around the room, pleased with the success of her ability. Leander suggests she wait outside, but Chloe notices dark circles under her uncle's eyes. Uncle embarrassedly confesses that he was very worried, and Chloe teases him with a crybaby. Leander silently and thoughtfully observes this touching scene. Melissa is distraught. Chloe's warm encounter with her uncle now makes the wolves look like villains. A few minutes later, an announcement is made. Chloe will remain under the protection of the Lion House, despite living in the Wolf House. The Lion's representative is adamant. They will not give Chloe to those who used her to obtain magic stones. The wolves are in unanimous denial. "We would never do that." Melissa is shocked. "What are you talking about? Aruz didn't get a single stone from you." Leander's brother parries. "That's right, after all, it was you who pressured the guilds not to sell us any stones." Melissa's brother is stunned by such a brazen accusation. He shouts in rage, "How could you fall so low, and now you want to take Chloe away too?" Chloe's uncle objects. "We sent 5 million barrels of stones every year at your request." To prove his point, an exhausted Leander is shown working in the tower to the point of exhaustion. Leander's brother begs him not to overexert himself, but the Duke only waves him off, ready to make more stones. Leander thinks hopefully that hard work will allow him to see Chloe again. Chloe's uncle clenches his fist, not understanding how the wolves can deny receiving the stones. He screams in rage, wondering where all those magic stones went then. Chloe realizes if the lions didn't torture the wolves, then who did? Shouting can be heard outside the door. The knights of the lions and wolves are arguing about whose princess Chloe is. Everyone in the room is puzzled. What is all the noise going on outside? Leander stares resolutely forward, his green eyes full of steel. The cabinet doors creak open, heralding a new scene. Leander's brother sternly reprimands the knights, asking what they are allowing themselves. The wolf knight, Sir Arthur, kneels down, apologizing for the noise to Chloe's uncle. Chloe is surprised to recognize the kneeling knight. The girl, with a cry of "Brooks!" rushes to the other knight. Chloe runs up to the fallen lion knight Brooks, worried about his condition. Brooks smiles at Chloe in relief, asking how she's been doing. The little girl happily reports that she's been having a great time, eating and sleeping well. Chloe turns to Brooks, wondering who he just had a fight with. Sir Arthur, the wolf knight, embarrassedly apologizes to Chloe for causing a scene. The girl says with a smile that she knows his name, since he's her protector and Isabel and Cassie told her. Sir Arthur is touched to the core by her concern, berating himself for scaring her. Sir Arthur is humbled to accept any punishment for his misdeed. Chloe gently stops him, assuring him that everything is all right, because they both acted for her. The girl adds with understanding that she knows. The knights just wanted to protect her. Glowing with joy, Chloe says that she feels completely safe with such protectors as Sir Arthur and Brooks. Both knights, heartbroken to the core, babble embarrassedly, "My lady!" Brooks declares Chloe to be an angel, and Sir Arthur embarrassingly agrees while the girl rejoices in the power of her ability. Leander's brother watches with a smile, and Leander suddenly has a thought. Wait a minute. Leander realizes, if even the elite knights of the wolf are without magic stones, then a terrible suspicion arises in his mind. Did the House of the Wolf really not receive them? Leander can't believe in such a possibility. Doubt overwhelms him. It can't be. Leander recalls Chloe's words about mutual love with his uncle and mother, which reinforces his doubts. The Duke wonders if everything he saw and heard about the wolves was true. A rumble of voices is heard in the hallway, heralding a new development. Leander's brother is surprised at his thoughtfulness, and the Duke asks him to notice something. Leander's attention is drawn to the wolf knight's sword lying on the floor. The Duke's eyes widen with sudden insight. He has realized something. Leander points out, there are no magical stones in the wolf knight's weapons. They came with ordinary swords. Leander's brother agrees that this is strange, and the Duke decides to test Aruse's words. Leander confidently declares that the version about not receiving the stones is true, and calls Mason. Mason immediately responds to the Duke's call and hurries to fulfill his orders. Leander orders Mason to bring a list of the stones sent and Aruse's request. Mason, with an impenetrable face, silently listens to the Duke's order. The aide replies briefly, "Understood," and withdraws. The scene changes to a view of the night sky, foreshadowing secret events. Suddenly, another servant bursts into the study shouting, "Your Grace, trouble!" Leander wonders what's wrong, and the servant explains that he followed Mason because of the importance of the documents. He reports that Mason turned down a strange passage and had to stop him. The servant recalls calling out to Mason, asking him to wait. Suddenly, Mason attacked him, which shocked the servant. The servant panics and asks what is happening, adding that Mason saw the knights running to the noise. The servant grimly recounts that Mason, realizing he had been caught, clucked his tongue. And right on the spot, without waiting for the proceedings, Mason killed himself. Leander and his brother are shocked. The Duke unbelievingly interjects, "What did you say?" Another servant reports that he has brought the requested documents and the scroll with the magic stone found in Mason's room. Leander's brother examines the scroll. It bears coordinates outside the lands of Aruse, and all servants associated with Mason have been checked. With a grim look, he reports that they have all lost their lives too, and worries about Chloe and Melissa. A servant assures him that they have been moved to the ladies' room, protected by the strongest magical stones in the castle. Leander suggests that the suicides are only the ones caught, and that there are still traitors lurking in the castle. The Duke firmly orders an investigation to find all the spies and find out who is behind it, by any means necessary. The servant immediately replies, "Yes, understood," ready to carry out the order. Leander's brother Ian anxiously addresses the Duke. He reminds him that their spies in Arousa have often provided false information. Doubts gnaw at Ian. Should he trust the latest reports? Leander, voiceover, is certain the men they have recruited cannot lie. Ian's agreement is heavy. The dark figures of their agents loom behind him. Inwardly, he convinces himself, it must be so, the Duke is not wrong. Meanwhile, Ian and his sister search Chloe's room for evidence of mistreatment. Ian's hand reaches for the floor. He exclaims, "I knew it!" The Duke's brother squeamishly holds up a simple doll, but Chloe says it's a gift from Brooks. Ian's sister looks curiously at the box she found. What's this? Ian's sister opens the box and there are new baby things in there. She remembers that there was no nursery like this here, and wonders who all this was prepared for. A sudden knock on the door interrupts her musings, and a voice outside asks permission to enter. Chloe recognizes Brooks's voice and volunteers to open the door. Duke's sister opens the door and asks Brooks if he's searched everything. Brooks reports that they have checked all the places from the spy's reports. However, the knight reports that neither the test subject nor the laboratory exists, shocking his sister. The girl asks in bewilderment if there is nothing even in the basement of the main manor. Brooks confirms that there are no signs of abuse there either. Sister Leandra is stunned. No evidence, no laboratory, so Sister Leandra stands in the doorway stunned by Brooks's words. A question flashes through her mind. What did she believe all this time? Chloe is relieved that her mother has realized that the rumors about the Lion family are just rumors. The girl decides that it's time to act on her plan before the misunderstandings dissipate. The camera shows a majestic mansion, where the following events will unfold. Chloe, already in a different dress, hurries someone. Hurry up! Let's go together! She firmly drags two surprised men by the hands, saying that they need to go to the boardroom. The men look at each other confused, not knowing what's going on. Chloe promises to explain everything on the spot, assuring them that they won't regret it. The little girl triumphantly leads them, happy that her scheme has succeeded.